Welcome back to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. This is Project Independence and You. I'm your host, John Ryan, and my co-host today is Otto Los.
Good morning, John.
Welcome to the Kristina Lou Show, but it's very true. Kristina has a good group of guests, past and coming up. And the better the person, the more interesting the show. There's no question about it. How are you, Kristina?
Hello, everyone. I really enjoyed that first hour. You know, I was sitting back and thinking, I mean, listen, Wayne is always a fabulous guest. He's been on our show so many times now over the years. And what I just loved, it was the perfect mix of, you know, like little personal tidbits and then all the great work that the town clerk's office. You know, we didn't have a show last week, so I felt a little deprived that we didn't get to, you know, have the love is in the air kind of spirit. So
how did you celebrate Valentine's Day?
My husband and I actually, funny to say, as you know, we love, you know, a good celebration. So this year was a little different. So we decided to drive out to Montauk at night. We picked up food curbside. We parked, you know, just by like the ocean. And then we ate our favorite barbecue that we love out there. They have like great barbecue, and it was, you know, handheld little things. And then we just walked around, and it was dead. It was so nice. There was no traffic. And that's kind of our spot. So it was just, we both just needed kind of a breather from the world and life. And it felt nice to just do that. And it was a perfect, you know, I said, we're so used to always going out and doing all these different things, you know, dinners and all this. And it was just actually really nice this year to kind of keep it, you know, low key and fun. So
now, did you stay out there or did you drive back home?
No,
again?
we drove back. Yeah, we were just out there for a couple hours. We drove around. We drove to go see the lighthouse.
It's about 100 miles.
Yeah, it was. Listen, I have to give props to my fabulous husband. Because on the way home, I just, you know, I had a blanket, I curled up, I took a snooze on the way home. You know, normally it takes us like 2 hours to get out there. And it was definitely, you know, maybe like an hour and a half or so. So it was a great night. I had a great time.
How did both home? Like in the middle you got home in the middle of the night then?
Yeah, we went out at like, we probably went out around like 4 or 5, you know, so we were home by like 10. Yeah, it was nothing crazy.
Otto, these crazy kids.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Whatever it was earlier than by the time we normally come home, but it was really nice. And like
I got all to do to think about, should I go from New Hyde Park to Mineola or Westbury? and you're going to Montauk Point.
A barbecue and then home.
Yeah, right.
Listen, the things we do for food, the two of us, you know, it just made it really worthwhile, you know, to pick up and it was just fun to sit in the car. We listened to music, had the heat on. It was really a nice little experience. How did both of you celebrate?
Just to touch on what Kristina's talking about, and it's very, very true. And she's somebody who really epitomizes this, but other people do it. And if you don't, you have to wake up and try to do it. Make the moment good, as difficult as it is. Many of them suck, but that's besides the point. Here she turned around, you know, and they took a ride. Yeah, I would turn around and say, I'm going to drive for 2 hours, have some barbecue and drive home. It's not happening. But guess what? They had fun. They were hanging out together.
Yeah.
What was wrong with it? Somebody else watched TV for 4.5 hours. So good for you for doing it. You know,
yeah, that's what I said. It's all about whatever makes you happy. And like I said, Montauk has always been a special place year round for my husband and I, and that's kind of our place to, you know, decompress and whatnot. So, and like I said, it's beautiful just year round. And it also made me appreciate how great Long Island really is. You know, I was saying to him, we were driving there because you could really get a taste of all different things, you know, so, and outdoor, like I said, it was winter, there was snow on the ground, but it was just beautiful to even see, you know, Montauk that way. So
we used to go to Montauk maybe 5 years in a row. We would go for a week, and there was a motel, I can't remember the name of it, but when I had all the kids home, and it was great. We always had a good time out there.
Yeah, that's what me and my family do every year, and it's like I said, it's nice because you're not that far away, but you feel, you know, like you can kind of breathe. And like I said, it was just nice to breathe the fresh air and the ocean. I always just feel happier there. So it doesn't take very much, guys. I was sitting there, I had my cup of coffee. I was really enjoying myself. So.
Good. Kristina, this is a personal question. How did Montauk become a place for you?
You know, my husband and I, and
I
this
know,
is
since I know you, you talk about Montauk.
yeah. So Jay and I, and this is when I was listening to the first segment, wherever you guys were talking about like love stories and stuff. And, my husband and I have been together since I was 17. So that was 18 years ago. We essentially, I was saying that we grew up together literally. And I remember our first, and listen, we're clearly more established now. But then we were just, two kids who didn't have much money. And we were trying to figure out like a vacation. And certainly also see how things have gotten more expensive over the years because someone said to us, you guys should check out Montauk. It's not, far and you guys love the beach. So we had stayed at this one place I think it was like for a week, which listen, a week now in Montauk will certainly,
Expensive.
yeah, especially where I try and stay. So, and I remember we went and we were so excited because I think I must have been like 18 or 19. And it was just so exciting because I had my boyfriend and, we got to like stay and then we fell in love immediately. And every year we told our friends, so the couple, we would have a lot of people that would come with us. And we just went, we made a point. We haven't like missed one summer, and obviously as we get older, we do a lot of day trips out there where we don't even necessarily stay. Listen, me and Jay, as there's a common theme, we'll drive out for food. If we want a lobster roll, we will be driving in the summer to Montauk to get that lobster roll. And of course I have requests from my brother, bring me home one. So we're very dedicated. And I'm also very dedicated because they have a fabulous TJ Maxx and Home Goods out there that is like no other. So I will do for shopping and food. There's very little I wouldn't do. But yeah, like I said, and it's real. And, in the past couple of years, it's been nice because my mom and my dad came out with me and Jay, and then we bring like one of our friends usually comes, and different people come for the day, and it's just nice because we all it's very low key, and I feel like everyone, I was laughing because it's just a feeling you get, and like I said, whatever your place is or that gives you this feeling, I encourage everyone to do, and it's just I feel just calm, and all of us, it's like for some reason, whatever, as soon as we get that salt air. We all kind of feel, just breathe a little bit. And listen, everyone seems to get along better. My parents actually seem a lot happier in Montauk. So who knew?
Well, salt air is, I think, I go every Sunday morning with this group of cousins to Jones Beach and we walk. We've been doing it now, even as long as they plow the snow off the boardwalk, and we walk one part of it on the boardwalk, and then we go down to the edge of the water and walk the other part coming back along the water. And there is something about the ocean.
It is.
That, is nice. It's good, but it can obviously be very rough too.
I don't. You go to Jones Beach, and I'm curious. You park the car like by the boardwalk.
We go to Park and Field 6.
Okay.
And which is right by the boardwalk.
Okay.
And we go to the boardwalk and we walk west, I guess it would be, toward the city, and go as far as you can go. It depends. Like I have one cousin who's not walking too good right now, so I'll walk with him, and we won't go quite as far, but then we'll cut down to the beach and walk along the beach and then come back to the Park and Field 6. And believe it or not, this is the only place probably in all of Jones Beach that on a Sunday morning that's open and you can get a cup of coffee. And we actually sit outside at this table, all decked out with whatever we need, and we've had 8 of us. Typically it's 6. And, it's kind of a break in the action. There's something interesting about even driving to Jones Beach on a Sunday morning in the off season. There's nobody going.
What time do you go?
Pardon me?
What time do you go?
I get there at 9:15.
Oh, okay.
In the morning, and takes a half hour from my house to get to the parking field. And, you know, basically we walk and talk, and it's been a good way to stay in touch with the younger, these are younger cousins, um, you know, all, well, younger now, they're all probably 50 or whatever, but they are younger by quite a bit. Uh, and my cousin, who's 10 years younger than me, um, and his daughter, and, you know, there's a group, it's all connected family wise.
Okay.
And it's been a nice little change of pace, especially during COVID.
Absolutely.
You know,
Well, listen, you're keeping in touch. You're like checking off all the bases because you get to keep in touch. You're outside. You get some activity. You know,
yeah, I
so
mean, I'm
Otto's
home
really
by 11:30, whatever, you know.
no, but you're sorry. You know, and that's what and that's what I was saying about Montauk. That is so nice. Is that I love it. Listen, I go there literally year round. But what was nice, about this time is that clearly not a lot of people are doing that. So it's, it's you just kind of I felt like I was in like a little ghost town, because there was no one around. So and that's how it is with Jones Beach too. And that boardwalk, I have to say, at Jones Beach is absolutely beautiful. And
Yeah.
it's so nice because Jay and I have walked on there too, and it's really really nice. So
Well, they did a tremendous job along there. If people haven't been down there for a while, they it hasn't really been fully functional yet because of COVID. But
yeah,
the
it's
zip
amazing.
line and cornhole games built
Yeah.
in, and all kinds of new things that they put in. So one of these days, when the weather is right and COVID is over, they're going to have a lot of stuff going on down there.
Absolutely. And that's what I think is, like I said, it makes you clearly the times are different, and I'm always trying to preach, appreciating, but living here, and living in North Hempstead for North Hempstead residents, there are so many beautiful local parks, and listen, it's unfortunate, that we can't all travel. I think so many people are used to, going all different places, but we're very fortunate to live where we live because living on Long Island, you have access to so many different things. Like I said, if you want to go to the beach, you can go to the beach. You want a wooded kind of thing, obviously, there's a more city urban kind of, vibe too. So you can kind of have like a little taste of anything, which is really, really nice. So
It's a great morning. I really enjoy it. And we're in the middle or quasi beginning of the Kristina Lou show. And we were just talking for anybody who's joining us late.
the nerve.
A nerve exactly about the beach and Otto walking and Kristina's love for Montauk. And I think at the end of the day, or even to continue this conversation, you got to do something. And Otto, I mean, he got two different people. Between Otto and Kristina, two different lifestyles, etc. But they both come together in the fact that you have to do something. Otto goes for war. Otto is golfing and bowling and everything else. And Kristina, she's always out also with Montauk and doing stuff. What do they have in common? Activity. That's it at the end of the day. If you're going to sit home and watch TV, other than sitting home and listening to us for 2 hours, then you can go out. You have to do something. You really do. Because, and even with my work, I come across so many people that when they're getting ready to retire, the one thing I stress for them is if you don't have, forget the money part of it. I deal with the money part of it. You have to have that squared away, but you have to have some sort of a plan. You don't retire and buy the 60-inch TV and then sit there day after day. You got to be active. And the most successful retirees are the ones that do get involved community activity, get involved with their kids, their grandkids, get involved with physical activity, socialization of any kind. And Otto hooking up with cousins and stuff, it's tremendous. How many people say, we just got, in this past week, believe it or not, we got a call from a cousin of mine who I haven't heard from in years, just reaching out. Obviously, COVID is changing some things. And Steph got a card from a cousin that she hasn't heard from in years, just saying, thinking of you guys. That's good.
You've heard me use the word before. Rather than retirement, I once read a book called Rewirement. You're basically rewiring your life. You're not retiring to nothing. You're rewiring it to something, whatever that may be. And everybody has different likes and different needs, and that's your call, But to me, I don't have enough time in the day now and in my rewirement to do the things I want to do. And the snow right now has cut down a little bit on you mentioned golf, although they do have a package where you can play with snowshoes at a very reasonable rate.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I thought you were.
I was impressed. I thought it was, me and John, I really believe that was like, a new kind of niche.
No. And unfortunately, the snow keeps you out of that action for a little while. And bowling was canceled this afternoon, by the way, because of the road conditions for a senior group, getting cars out and whatnot. I'm looking out, there's some flurries coming down as we speak here. And it was pretty icy this morning. So this is a league of people. The minimum age is, I'd say, 70. So safety is important. Yeah. So it's canceled for the day.
You know what? We're closer to the end of winter than the beginning. So I'm doing this today from home. And actually, I have 4 Zoom calls after this. But I was going to work, and my wife went wild. It's like, what are you going to work for? You can do it from home. I have one at 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, and 2:30. So at 3 o'clock, I'm finished. So do it from here. But it's the truth. And today wasn't a day to go out. There's no reason to be risking it. On Judy Bosworth's first installation to office, we were going to it, and we stepped out the front door of the house. I might have said this before, and it was icy, but not terrible. But my wife slid right off the steps. Ooh. And when her arm went back, she broke her wrist. It hit the step. And she was very lucky, because if she had shortened it, she would have hit her head and cracked her head open. So her hands went behind her back, and she broke her wrist. We spent the day in the hospital. So, this.
No, you have to be so careful. I was telling Otto, when we first got on the show last week, because we've had so much snow, I believe it was last week. And I was getting ready for work, and it was the day after, and it looked relatively clear, everything. And I was bringing, I have 10,000 trips to my car, because I'm always like schlepping a bazillion things into work. And I was coming back, and I was walking my driveway towards the side of my house, and I slipped and I fell. Luckily, I wasn't going fast, and it wasn't anything terrible. I fell okay. But, I was like saying, so like, no matter what age you are, it's something you have to be careful. And now forget it. I'm like terrified. Because my husband laughs at me. I walk, and I'm like, is that black ice? Everything to me looks like ice, because it was like, I was like, thank God. And I was very close. I could have like hit my head, the way I felt. But it reminded me of a show that we had on many, many years ago. And it was a fall prevention show. And they were telling us how to walk in the snow. And it was that penguin walk. So I've actually been trying to remember to do that, so my husband thinks I'm a little crazy because I'm walking, with my legs, my feet like outward. But it does give you some more stability, and you really have to be so careful. Like I said, and that goes for anyone of any age. Right. Because you really just have no idea, and like I said, I wasn't even going particularly that fast, thank God, because it probably would have been a lot worse. But, so now it's just a story that my family laughs at, because the cameras picked up my fall. So it gave my brother a big source, because I'm okay, obviously it was like, a funniest home video. He really enjoyed me, slipping down. So that was a perk of having cameras outside.
And the thing is, the important thing from seniors listening to this, Kristina's a baby. So therefore,
John, say it again.
she bounced up, and the older you get, the more brittle you are. And so my wife is always watching, like she grabs the stuff, doesn't want me carrying it, because I have a couple clients that she broke her hip maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and they're both in their early 90s. And this is in the house, and he was helping her. And 2 weeks ago, he fell and broke his. Yeah. So now they have full-time staff, and it's just, thank God they're both doing okay. But like anything, a 20-year-old to break a bone versus a 50 or 60 and everything, it's tougher. You have to be careful. So on a day like today, you err on the side of being safe.
Right. And it's days like today, you watch TV, you watch.
Right, okay. Today's a TV day. Okay.
Yeah, today, but I want to be clear, I love TV. So as much as I like to go out, I do love to watch my shows as well. So it's all about balance.
What do you say, Otto?
Yeah, well, but we always talk about Zoom. To me, Zoom is a concept, all right? It's like the Ditto machine or the Xerox machine.
Right.
You know, there are other versions of Zoom that exist, but the concept of being able to do what we're doing, I mean, this show would be dead if Zoom didn't exist and we can't go to the studio. That's the end of the show.
Right.
You know, but it does exist. And there's so many things that I just thought about this the other day. I really didn't appreciate it as much. I did. That's not true. But the diversity of what you could do on Zoom, you know, now with the telemed thing and exercise programs and health chats and there's a thing about dementia, you know, that you could be occupied almost all day with Zoom, to be blunt about it. And there is a socialization that takes place with Zoom. Like now, we're socializing. You know, we are really.
I'm agreeing with you 100%.
You know, and
You know.
if it didn't exist,
well, that's what it is. It's just, and I can't, you know, it amazes me, you know, because I think back to when this whole thing happened, which is almost, you know, a year ago now since we've been doing Zoom, and I didn't know what the heck Zoom was. And I remember, you know, I kept hearing the buzz on TV when this was happening, and then all of a sudden work. And it was really, it's such a user-friendly format too, you know, and that's what I always stress to people who are very hesitant to, you know, do it. Oh God, you know, and I was like, it's really, if someone's sending you, you know, they email you, text you the link, and all you have to do is click on it. You don't even have to log in or do anything. You know, I mean, that really is so great. And like, listen, it connects you, especially during this time when we can't all be together, but even not in this kind of time, you know, for the senior who lives alone, you know, I think about that all the time. You know, this opens up your world, you know, you're able to socialize and learn new things and get your brain going, you know, and you know, my grandpa like totally would have loved to sit there, you know, and do that if that was around when he was here. And it's just because, like I said, he would always say, you know, I spend so much of my day, you know, not talking to anyone. And, you know, luckily he had our family, but I think about that, you know, like the senior who doesn't have anyone calling them or visiting them, you know, and it's just day in, day out, you're kind of just sitting there not getting that stimulation of, you know, your brain. So it's really great. And I encourage people, and it's just nice to see there's so many great programs, and really, especially in North Hempstead, the creativity that's behind it, and people kind of trying to you know, keep somewhat of a normalcy of life, you know, but in this kind of format. So,
you know, if you think about it, it's almost brutal, if you will, if you do not have the access to the internet nowadays.
absolutely.
You know, it's really a very tough situation. I saw a group of young kids, basically COVID angels, that
Yes.
are working with people, setting up appointments for vaccines. It's difficult enough if you have a computer. If you don't have a computer, how difficult is that to try to set up appointments for vaccines? So these young people actually work with people, adult seniors or senior orphans, let's say, on arranging for things like a COVID vaccine. My point being, though, how do you get, you know, people who have a fear of it, and I think that's part of it, how do you get people past that? You know, it's I think then it becomes a defense mechanism, and they say, well, I don't really need that. I think part of that is a fear of the unknown.
Of course,
You know,
and
you're overwhelmed by it.
it's right, exactly. You know, and I have to say, you know, I can see this firsthand, you know, because of what I do. You know, it's just amazing. And I've said this before, you know, over the years with, you know, I've been with Project Independence, you know, I guess 10 plus years now. And it's really just, you know, people, I think about, like, you know, if we were ever to suggest, like, oh, we're going to do a technology program, it was like, what? No, like, no way. No, thank you. You know, and then flash to gradually, obviously things were, and then thrown into this pandemic. I mean, there are definitely people who are using this that never would. you know, so it really opened up that world. And like I said, you have to be willing to, you can't force anyone. And I get it's scary, but I think a lot of it too is just word of mouth, you know, and that's how it works. So
everything happens, unfortunately, with time for certain people, and you know they'll pick it up eventually. And I want to go to Kristina for a specific question. One, we need to know what's going on around the town, which she can talk about, but also we have North Hempstead TV runs this program. The Kristina Lou Show runs the Project Independence Radio and has tremendous Zoom classes. But I don't know how you find the time for a certain one. If I wanted to go that Qigong, I know a class that was run by the town, or Rebecca runs a program, a yoga program. How do you find it? How do you know what time you can hook up the TV?
Okay, so the very simple, obviously, you know, we have different flyers for different programs telling you what time things are on TV. But the very simple way to do this is to go to myNHTV.com. So that's MY, you know, my, and it's North Hempstead TV, essentially. So myNHTV.com. And then you're going to see right on top, it's very user-friendly, the website. There's a thing that says schedule, and you just click on that. And that's the best way because, like I said, sometimes scheduling fluctuates based upon, you know, programming or whatever it might be. But so that gives you the daily schedule. So for example, I just clicked on it. And then today you could have just had a full day of Project Independence Radio, because at 9:05 a.m. our show was on. And then again, they will have, and this is from, you know, the previous week, there will be at 2:00, they have Project Independence Radio on TV. And then at 3:00, they have Talk of the Town. So they, you know, like I said, that's throughout the day. And then there also is, you know, a bunch of exercise classes. For example, John, if you wanted to do Tai Chi, if you felt so motivated after this radio program at 1 p.m.
Kristina, I have to interrupt you. I finally sent my Tai Chi pants to the Goodwill.
Oh God, he got after all that. You know, he's been holding on to these Tai Chi pants.
How many years? I said, Steph, put them in the bag.
I wanted you to model them, John.
I know, John. We never got to see the Tai Chi pants. We've been talking about. But at 1:00, you could do Tai Chi with Joe Panico. So that's one of our PI programs. And then there's chair yoga was this morning. So like I said, there's a whole bunch throughout. And that's really the best way to see. You could also, listen, if you don't have access to, you know, the internet to check a schedule, if you call 311, they'll be able to, you know, help facilitate that and pull it up, you know, because that's the thing. A lot of people that watch the North Hempstead TV are a lot of people who are not as tech savvy, you know, because on top of the North Hempstead TV exercise programs, we also have the live Zoom exercise programs, you know, and that creates a more interactive kind of feel as well.
Question.
Yes.
Because, and I've tried this, because it's a government channel,
yes,
you cannot DVR the shows. You can't record them.
Oh, you can.
Really?
Yeah.
I do. No, yeah. I don't. I record them.
You do?
I record them. You can't pick one. You have to record it's like a 4-hour package.
Oh, okay.
I go to guide.
Right.
And it says government, whatever it does, and like from 10 to 2.
Right.
I hit record and it records the entire thing.
Oh.
Who do you use? Do you use Optimum or Verizon?
Verizon.
Okay.
Fios.
Because I use Optimum, and what I saw, and I'm going to try it again now that we're talking, because here's the thing that happens, all right? You say, okay, the show is on at 9:05. Mm-hmm. Well, 9:05, I have a dentist appointment, so right. I can't watch.
Well, then you're going to have to cancel that dentist appointment.
But I would love to watch. I would love to watch later in the day. Mm-hmm. So would there be a way?
Yes.
Yeah. What's that way?
So that's, you know, like I said, we, which is a good thing. You can go all over the place and watch these. I mean, and I'm speaking on behalf of Project Independence Radio, and I could touch upon the exercise classes too. So if you're trying to watch Project Independence Radio show, you could watch it a couple of different ways. So if you go to the North Hempstead website and then click on Project Independence, it's very user friendly. You'll see a little, you know, radio icon. And then that's where all episodes are. You could even download an episode if you want to save it on your computer and just watch it endlessly. But you could also go to YouTube, and this is really a very quick and easy way. So we've been talking about smart TVs. So let's say your smart TV has, you know, the little YouTube icon, which I mean, we use constantly in my house. So you would just click on that, and then you go to WCWP Studios. You would just type that in, and then I clicked subscribe to that. So anytime there's a new post or whatever, it's very easy for me to get to. So I just clicked on it, and there's a Project Independence playlist that has all of our, Zoom videos that Dan puts up there. So that's a real great way, because then you're able to watch it, very easily on your television.
Now, does that tell you describe the show as to who's on it or anything? Because the North Hempstead TV gives you the month. Here.
Oh, we got the Wizard of Oz came in.
Only because I need to do two things. Yes. First, thank you for promoting the YouTube page. That's great. We need that. But I want to draw people's attention to WCWP.org.
Okay.
And under podcasts, I want you to click on Project Independence, because if you see that page now, it has pictures of everybody who's on the show and biographies of everybody on the show. And at the very bottom of the page, if you scroll all the way down the bottom, there are 3 buttons that will take you to either North Hempstead Television, to Project Independence website radio part, and on the right-hand side is a link to our YouTube page. So and
that's perfect, because that has all the things right there. Absolutely.
Could you repeat that again?
All right, I'll repeat, WCWP.org, O-R-G. And then you want to go to the podcast section. Underneath podcast, there is Project Independence and you. When you get to the Project Independence page, well, first you should read wonderful pieces about John, Kristina, and Otto. There's the picture. And at the very bottom of the page, there are 3 buttons that'll take you to any one of those 3 places where you can access the material. So
and they say what the show was, like what's on the show.
Yeah. There's a little description of each show on YouTube. I put in a description of who was on the show. As far as Talk of the Town is concerned, it just says you 3 knuckleheads talking about stuff. So
well,
it's different every week.
One of the things with the town one that's a bit of a problem from my perspective is that if you don't know the month that the show was on or the year, you basically have to count on the search button.
Well, no, each YouTube video says Project Independence and then the date it aired, the date that it was recorded.
Just the date, though. It doesn't tell you who was on.
No, but if you scroll down, you'll see in the description area who was on the show.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah,
and on the radio page on the Town of North Hempstead's website, the Project Independence website, you can actually download the rundown. You can actually see.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
That's right.
But you do have to know the year and the date of the show.
Yeah, but if you put it in the search bar is pretty accurate. As long as you're like, oh, there was a show. If you type in eye doctor or whatever, it'll come up. So it's pretty reliable, the search bar, I have to say. So, and like I said, you could always call 311. And if you are just really lost and can't figure it out, you'll be sent over to me. And we will certainly do it, because like I said, and I'm not biased because I'm on this show, but it really is filled with so much wonderful information, and the guests that we've had on, it's just, it's something I really encourage people to do and to stay informed. We're lucky to have this kind of medium where we're able to talk about the latest things that are coming out, and listen, the great thing about North Hempstead is that there is constant programs coming on. And I want to say, speaking of North Hempstead TV, the Valentine's Day program, the virtual Valentine's Day program, I was reading the press release, during the break about this. And that is about the 3 couples, that in different stages of life that, Wayne Wink discussed. And what's really nice is that the couple that was married for 55 years was Barbara and Jack Afonso, who are 2 fabulous Project Independence members. But I definitely want to check that out. So I don't live in North Hempstead, so unfortunately I don't have the TV channel, but I could watch it online, which is great. But if you want to watch it on TV today, it is going to be on at 5 p.m. So that's on North Hempstead TV, and that is either channel 18 or 63, and that's Cablevision Optimum, World, and then channel 46 on Verizon Fios. And then you can watch it on the Facebook page, the town's Facebook page also, if you want to. So I think people should check that out. That seemed, like I said, it's a real fun and creative way to still celebrate, you know, Valentine's Day that I think the town did. And, you know, I know there was a lot of programs for kids that the town was doing too. That was so great. You know, community services was involved in a lot of them. And there were these little Valentine's Day craft packages, you know, so, and they would be dropped off or mailed to houses, you know, and I just think it was nice. Everyone is really, I have to say, in all departments, thinking outside the box of how to do, you know, acknowledge things, but just differently this year. So I have to give credit where credit is due. It's certainly wonderful. So definitely check that out. And I think, you know, North Hempstead TV, looking at the silver lining of this whole thing during this time, I mean, the programming now is, there's so much programming that is being sent to North Hempstead TV, whether it's exercise, whether it's, you know, another showcase the story. I mean, the Fun Day Mondays that were over the summer were so wonderful. You know, the different holiday things that were going on, cooking and craft. I mean, it goes on and on. It's really a very rich schedule. So I want to encourage people to definitely check that out, because there's great stuff on there. And you know what I wanted to remind people, you know, February is Black History Month, and the town did a few years back now an incredible civil rights documentary, and they're also doing a panel. Is going to be on North Hempstead TV, and Council Member Viviana Russell will be on next week to talk to us too. So it's really something important too. And like I said, the fact that North Hempstead has this great programming about that, that's also on North Hempstead TV. So check that out. Certainly wonderful.
Just jumping in, because we're going to have to take a break in another minute or two. While Kristina's been talking, I was going through my phone. It's a tremendous, what Dan has put up is tremendous. WCWP.org. Honestly, you got to look into it. WCWP.org. And then you go down to the podcast. And he made up stuff about the three of us, which is tremendous. No.
Good fiction.
I owe him money.
Lies, all lies, the whole bunch of it.
Good fiction.
It's great, Dan. You did this. Honestly, it's super. And then they have all the other shows too. It's not just our show. I think it's tremendous.
I can't take complete credit for your page. Kristina had a lot to do with that. So.
I know that. She's a good
teamwork.
I just want to compliment again two things. One, the work that Dan has done at WCWP.org, and you have to go on it, whether it's this show or other shows. It's in one page. You can find out who's doing what programs, backstage, Tilly's, this song, cue, lots of different things. You hit it on, and it may be besides ours that you have an interest in. The Day in Music, Taking Care of Business. You hit it on, you'll see what it's about. And that might be a show you're going to be interested in listening to also. Another thing that Dan just said, and Otto, and actually I'm going to shoot it over to Otto, is that while COVID has thrown things off, it has given us the opportunity to clean things up maybe. So Dan is doing these things, not that he has downtime, because he has less staff actually. So he's more busy, he's busier than he's ever been. But you know, that is saying, when you want something done, give it to the guy who's the busiest and it's going to get done. The guy who's sitting there saying, you know, what's next, doesn't get done. And Otto, you were just talking about that.
Yeah, well, I still, as I said, I work part-time, very a nice little gig I have. I do marketing and sales coaching for an electronics manufacturer. And, you know, that part of their business is very heavy into the vending industry. They sell electronic components that go into vending machines. And the vending business has suffered dramatically because of COVID. You know, a lot of big factories where they have a lot of vending machines. There's nobody there using the vending machines. You know, just a lot of reasons why that part of the business is bad. But fortunately, they're able to sustain while they're going through this whole thing. And they've decided that going back right in the beginning, that they're going to use the time to fix some of the product issues that they had, fix their office environment, you know, just take the time of what could be a negative poor me time and make it a positive by fixing things. And I think that that can be taken over into your personal life as well. You know, that if there's nothing that, one thing we all gained out of this thing is time. You know, before we might have been busy running around doing this, doing that, going to dinner with this one or whatever. A lot of that isn't there now. So you have more time. So the question is, what do you do with that time? You know, it's a positive asset, and that holds true for all of us in our individual lives, no matter what stage you're in. You know, married 3 months, 55 years, a little bit shaky on the health side or good health. We all have time. So what can you do with that time, I think, is a big thing that everybody should think about.
Oh, and you know, we're talking about cleaning up stuff. And next week also, we have on Barbara Feldman, who is going to give us our tips on decluttering that we look forward to every year. So that's something, like I said, everyone knows that's been kind of my project during this COVID time, was here and there, you know, picking little projects and kind of organizing it. You know, I'm labeling everything with my like label machine. I'm just putting labels on all kinds of things. But it's just, it makes you feel good. And, you know, I was like, my husband, like, Lex, I'm always so proud. Like, oh, look, I just organized this or what, you know, but it really just makes you feel better too, I have to say. You know, the fact that there were some major closets that I organized, and like, you know, just to open it, just everything is just easier to kind of get to. You know, you're not doing a balancing act, you know, holding things like one hand here, making sure that doesn't fall on your head and whatnot. But it's definitely something, you know, and that's what I said. It's all in these different pieces of your life. And I think that is a positive, Otto, because things kind of were forced to slow down. You know, a lot of times, let's be real, most of the time I wasn't in the house. You know, I was running around, I was out and about, you know, so clearly that has changed, you know, during this time. So it's a good time to be productive, you know, and it makes you feel good.
I'm sorry, but one of the things we're doing right now, which I can't tell you is particularly great to do, but these safety classes that were run for discounts on your insurance, you would go live to a place for all day Saturday or whatever. You can do those online, which we're doing now, both of us. And, you know, it saves $300 a year or whatever between two people.
It's worth it.
Yeah. And the beauty of it online is you can do it in half an hour. You don't feel like doing it, you stop.
That's what I did. I did the same, and it was just nice because it gave you, you know, it kind of broke it up, and, you know, it wasn't as, you know, much information at one time, which was cool.
Yeah. You know, so you get bored, you know, sit there. Well, you shouldn't do this, of course, but you can actually watch TV and do it.
I was like the bad kid in school.
They're going to call now and send a note to Bunny. Like, do you know what
I think that, you know, he has to put on the TV Project Independence Radio because he just wants so much information while he's getting, you know, that information. And he could be watching, and I have to give a shout out because today is one of our team members at Project Independence, her birthday. It is Sherry Baton, our mobility manager.
Oh, is it really?
Talking about driving, so we'll give her a little birthday shout out.
She just turned 30?
That's right. I like it. She'll be very happy to hear that too.
We also have Viviana coming on next week.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned Black History earlier, and then you went to Barbara.
Yeah.
But just to go over Black History Month and what's been going on. I mean, it's a tremendous, the amount of information that North Hempstead is putting out is tremendous. You know, and really part of it is because, one, you have elected officials that care, and then under it, you have town employees that care.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, and I mean this very sincerely, and I don't, you know, not because Kristina is Oz, so to speak, Otto. But being very honest, and Dan will be the first person to admit it. And actually, Dan comes into this category also. We talk about people who own their job. Mm-hmm. And Dan could have easily had said, this isn't happening, I have other things to do. So there'd be no radio and there'd be no TV program. Mm-hmm. Kristina could have turned around and said, I got so much else to do. This is more complicated than I need to do. And if she had sent that up the ladder, I'm sure this program would be off and say, okay, we'll come back and visit it next year. It's not a big deal. Instead, you know, she went the extra distance. Dan has gone the extra distance. And because of that, the information that's being brought forth to people in North Hempstead is just tremendous. And anybody who's not paying attention, it's their loss, because there's always something, I think, on a weekly basis. But if not a weekly basis, every other week, there's some little tidbit that somebody could walk away with and say, this is worth listening to.
And listen, I mean, I've definitely said this before, but I constantly I'm talking about you both too. And I have to give you both credit too, because you guys are also here with me every week also. And also Rebecca Miller, who has been,
Absolutely. I don't exclude Rebecca.
But, it's something that I said, that's what I'm so proud of this show, is really how it has transformed. And yes, we focus a lot on senior issues, but it's really a community show and it's a life show. I was just talking to my friend who actually, she lives in Greenville, which is part of the town North Hempstead. And she loves to turn on the TV and the radio and listen to me. And she was preaching to my other friend, how great, she loves it. She's my #1 fan with the show, but she was saying it's just something that is just so wonderful. And hear someone, she's just turned 40, and just loves to listen to it. And it's just great information. And like I said, I mean, you guys laugh. It's been my group therapy, and I hope that it serves that purpose for other people to hear. Because listen, that's the kind of show I like to hear. I like to hear what everyone else is going to. It makes me feel a little calmer, that I'm not losing my mind. So it's just, listen, we got to get through the days we can. Hopefully things are gradually getting better, which I believe they are. As John said, winter is coming to an end, soon. So I think we could hold on to that, and hopefully we'll have spring weather. There'll be more things outside, and it's something to look forward to, I think, about what's going to happen. So,
spring is coming, because Kristina is going to start working on May guests soon.
Right.
Look, April's done, so now we're getting into May. It's like, I talked to somebody the other day. I said, it's May or June before you can come on. I'll pass your name on to Kristina.
That's right. Listen, it's just we got to keep going. It gives me something to look forward to doing, and like I said, it's great information, and we are fortunate to have people on the show who do, no matter what kind of career path they seem to be in, or if they're just an interesting part. Everyone's kind of has a different passion and a different direction, and you could tell it's not just someone robotic talking about something.
I agree. Otto, you want to say something?
Yeah, I actually, this is something that's probably way off the wall for what we normally talk about on this show. But I found it, and I'm not into a lot of this stuff, but this particular thing really hit me. And that is the fact that we just landed on Mars. Now you can debate whether we should spend the money on doing that or not, but that's 300 million miles or 300,000 miles away, whatever the number. And we managed to land a device on Mars and get very clear pictures back in a matter of minutes from there. And the thing that got me was, we can't hardly drive to Montauk with a tank of gas. And this thing is plutonium powered, and it got its way all the way up to Mars and probably going to come back again. Now, how does that work?
I know we're gonna have to find someone else.
We have to put plutonium in our car, or what?
Who knows?
Like,
I'm sorry, I just got to interrupt. I said one thing this morning. I said we can send people to Mars, but we can't get the damn vaccines because of a little snow. Think about that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You had to cancel seniors' vaccines because of snow, but we can send a ship to Mars.
Well, if we put that kind of thinking into those kinds of things, like the devil is in the details. They had to do a lot of details to get this thing to Mars. All right. We have a problem I see a lot of times, and this is off the track altogether, but we have a problem with the fact that upper people, wherever they may be, look at a task and they really don't consider anything about the logistics of how to make this thing work. In the government, not in our case, we happen to be fortunate, all right? But in some cases, there's this task about getting vaccines out. Oh yeah, okay, we just have to make, 400 million vaccines, and with no consideration about what's involved with that. Do people have enough equipment? Do they have vials? Do they have labels? Do they have needles? Do they have all the things they need? Do they have people who can inject the vaccines into people? The list is long. And I think people, if they gave the same thinking to a project like that, that is given to getting to Mars, we'd be a lot better off.
Listen, we'll just go to Mars and get vaccines on Mars.
Yeah, there you go.
I agree with you both, but the show is over. That's what we have to deal with right now. Another wonderful show. You've been listening to Senior Talk Radio here on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a safe weekend because of the weather, and we'll see everybody next week. Thank you.